Hi everyone, Cindy Turner here, and with me I've got Michelle Walker, and we're both on the 2019 AFN Conference Organising Committee, woohoo! And today what I'd like to do is have a bit of a conversation with Michelle around this year's conference. So Michelle, I'd love to know from you, what makes this conference so special, having been around this space for quite a while now?
I guess, so this is, I think, my 8th or 9th conference over maybe 15 years, and I'm very excited. One, Brisbane is my hometown, and where we're going to be holding the conference, sort of South Brisbane, West End area, is, you know, a whole lot of family connections and personal history all right there. I could throw a rock and hit where I went to school and where I used to swim and so forth. So West End, Brisbane, nice part of the world and lots happening. So the conference is going to be embedded in a pretty lively part of a lovely city that's going to be gorgeous in July, because for those friends who come from down south, it's going to be lovely and warm. You'll be able to thaw out.
Very appealing. Great. So I know that you're involved in establishing the program for this year's conference. What can people be expecting this year?
So I just want to say thanks to all the folk that have been helping on the little subgroup working on the program. So thank you to everyone. And so I'm speaking, I guess, as part of a collective effort. We're looking at running around the theme of what the world needs now and looking at the value and contribution of facilitation. And we've got a couple of sub-themes that we're, I guess, suggesting or have been suggested to us by the community. So I'm looking forward to exploring those around cross-cultural capacities, around learning edges, the emerging kind of practice fields, what's innovative and creative. And I guess what we're doing is a really nice mix of pre-organised, structured part of the program, as well as I guess, space for the community that's coming together in July to really create value for ourselves. Now, this is something that as an AFN conference goer, if you've ever been to one, you will know there is an incredibly generous gifting of wisdom and knowledge and experience to the community as a whole by each and every person that offers their input. So that's the mix that we've got. So we've got this little bit of structure to help us understand and have some big sessions together as a group, and then we've got sections of the program which we're deeming as open space.
Okay, great. So as a fairly newish person to the AFN community, I mean, I went last year for my first conference and absolutely loved it and thought, this is my tribe, this is where I want to hang. Yep. We've got 3 fabulous days, the 24th, 5th and 6th of July, to come together and to play and collaborate and create together. I'd love to know a little bit more from you around, obviously there's some structured parts to the program, but we've also got this thing called open space. If you could demystify for us a little bit about what does that mean? What is open space exactly in your mind?
Yes, and I know that some people listening to this will be very au fait with open space, but for those practitioners that are perhaps not clear or haven't experienced an open space conference or workshop, this is probably for you. So the history of it is that it goes back to an organisational consultant called Harrison Owen, who set up this idea. He drew it from his experience of working in African village life, and he, I guess, used it as a design for workshops and conferences where we sit in circle and we learn from each other. So what's going to happen is when we start the conference, after we have our welcome to country and our opening processes, we'll then open the doors, if you like, on the open space. And that's when people who are attending are invited to offer up to host an open space session. And you can have a gift or a sharing of your own knowledge, if this is maybe for you, or you can just have a really good question that you want to gather a circle around to have a great deep conversation for. So it's very much those that are in the room, and I find the power of facilitating and participating in open space is it goes where the energy in the room wants to go. It's not this sort of preordained conference program of speakers. Not that AFN ever does it like that anyway, but this open space is even more flexible and creative for those that are attending. And I just want to share a quick story. I had my first experience of open space for a conference that I attended in Tasmania, I think about 15 years ago, maybe even a bit longer. And I didn't know what this thing was about, but we walked into this room and there was 100+ people and we were all sitting in this one giant circle, and we got invited to offer a session. So you literally write your session on a piece of paper and you step into the middle, grab the microphone and announce your session to the group. And the facilitator organizes the agenda right there as everyone is sitting and watching. And then we go about our sessions and you follow a program that you designed for yourself from the offering. So it means that you're going to get, as a participant, you're going to get the most enormous value because you're going where you are most, I guess, aligned or most interested. And that conference in Tasmania kind of blew my socks off as a participant. And I then sort of subsequently, a few years later, I ran a 5-day conference for 120 people. And as a facilitator, it was magnificent to watch it unfold, because the feedback I got from participants was they got so much value. Most people, because it was in the environmental natural resource management kind of arena, most hadn't ever experienced open space before. So they were pretty much trusting me to run the process, hoping that it was going to work. And then the feedback was that they found it really valuable because it was very much self-directed. It was very much up to participants' contribution, which is so aligned with the AFN community. It's a great fit, I think.
So it sounds to me like it's very much a self-driven journey for the participant to choose where they want to go, choose their own adventure, so to speak, when they attend the conference, and that their very contributions are actually shaping what transpires at the conference.
Absolutely. And we're going to have portions of each of the 3 days that will be set aside for the open space. So if people are listening to this and they are starting to think about coming, and I really encourage you to come to an AFN conference, and this one in particular in 2019, be part of help shape what gets discussed and what gets, I guess, moved forward in this question of what the world needs now. Have a think about what would be a session that you might wish to offer, and that, let those creative juices just kind of burble around, because there's no requirement for you to send in a workshop session for the actual conference. You can just turn up and on the day you offer it to the group, and we will organize it into the agenda, and it will be part of a very dynamic and energizing process.
Sounds fantastic. So to start getting their creative juices, thinking about what they might offer, how they could add value to this beautiful network of peers and facilitators from around the country. Yep,
that's right. So I would encourage people to think about coming to this year's conference, because if you're a facilitator that hasn't experienced open space, there's a great opportunity to do that. And once you've experienced it, it is a fairly straightforward process. We might even run an open space session around running open space for those who are interested, for the kind of new to facilitation practitioners. It's also a really good way to come together each year as a community and learn from each other and share what we've learned. And I think that that is one of the incredible strengths of the AFN community, is coming to these conferences and coming away feeling like you've just had the most delicious meal. You feel really filled up and satisfied having spent time with other fellow practitioners and had some really deep and powerful conversations with people who are maybe struggling with similar things in their practice, or maybe struggling with completely different things in the communities and the organisations that they work in. So come because you want to be a sponge, come because you've got an overflowing cup, just come. It's going to be great.
Sounds fantastic. I'm so looking forward to seeing you there, Michelle, and thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Cindy. Lovely.
Bye.
Bye for now.